So my name is Matthew Goetz, and I'm originally from Taos, New Mexico, and I graduated in 2000. When I was in 8th grade, one of my teachers, I went to kind of a small independent school in Taos. One of my teachers had one of the Verde Valley brochures, and he was like, "Hey, I think you should check this out." And I looked out and I went home and I talked to my parents, and my parents were like, "Absolutely not. You're not going out of state. What are you thinking?" And then a year or two later, Taos High School is not a great high school, and I was one of those unfortunate kids that got picked on and all that through school. When I was a sophomore in high school, our neighbor 2 houses down actually went to Verde Valley. She graduated in '98, I think. She came back, and I went and I talked to my parents again, and I was like, "Hey, Andrea really liked it. Like, I think I'd really like to go there." And another kid that I went to high school with in Taos, he actually went there that year as well. So that's kind of how I kind of convinced my parents to let me go. My impression when I got there, when I went to tour the school, it was probably April or May of the year prior, and it was just my stepmom actually drove me out, and when we actually got there, it was nighttime when we got there, so we didn't see any of the red rocks or anything like that. We stayed in the village, and then the next morning when we woke up, it was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then when I went and walked around campus, I was just absolutely amazed by everything that was out there. So my parents actually considered moving to Sedona when they took me to school to visit out there. So. I definitely recognize a lot of influence that's out of my life. I would say, especially now with everything that's going on in the world, I actually had a Facebook post that I put up a couple weeks ago talking about how, I was really lucky to go to school and have friends from all over the world. After I left school, I got to go to Japan and a lot of Asia and Europe and visit students that I had been friends with, and just how that taught me to be really tolerant of other cultures and how important it is that we have that here in the States. And it was during kind of the first big immigration executive order that came up that kind of prompted me to write something about how, I was really lucky to go to school and meet people from all over the world and just understand, like, we all just want to be here and make a difference and get along. That really had a profound impact, and I didn't realize that until just recently when everything started to change. So. Yeah, it actually so in terms of an anecdote or story, it relates back to kind of the previous question, where there was one night where I was having dinner with, it was a student from Korea, Japan, my girlfriend was from Korea at the time, or she's Korean, Czech Republic, Germany, like it was everybody from all over the world kind of sitting there having dinner, and we were all talking, and we all kind of understood everything that everybody was saying, but the student from the Czech Republic, Martin, I think he was graduating in 2001, he said something, we all just kind of looked at each other like, did anybody understand because he had a really thick accent, like, did anybody understand what he actually said? And it was just kind of like, no, but we kind of get what he said, like, we all kind of get this, and it just kind of really reverberated back to, like, wow, that was really cool that I actually got to do that when I was younger and have all these friends from all over the place. So, yeah. So it's been a lot in the last month or two. I really appreciate the fact that I got to go there over, especially the last month or two with all the changes. So. Yeah. My junior year, I did Native American roving or something like that, and it was to the reservations in southern Arizona, and then Hopi, and then to Navajo. And it's funny because, again, it relates back to what I'm doing right now. My wife and I do a lot of veterinary outreach on the reservations. And I think kind of having that understanding of how people are out there and how you can't just kind of barge in and be like, oh, we're here to do something, and actually get acceptance from the community. The fact that I got to do that in high school kind of helps me understand kind of working with these people to get out there and make a difference type of thing. So I think that something, 15, 20 years later relates to what I was doing back then. And then my senior year, we went to Mexico, and it was Agua Prieta and Mata Ortiz. And I actually went with one of the other students that was here for Michael. He was on that trip. And that was a great time. It was Jeff Perkins, and it was great. So we had a good time. So, yeah. Definitely Judge Mason. He actually called me up when I applied. He called me and talked to me for about 45 minutes or so of, about the school and what I wanted. And then him and I got into a really heated discussion my senior year. And at the end of it, he kind of made the impression on me like, maybe I shouldn't go to college. It probably wouldn't be a good use of my time. And it's funny because it really, for all intents and purposes, kind of made me upset as a student and kind of felt the need to prove myself to him. So when I got into undergrad, I sent him a letter of my acceptance. And when I graduated from undergrad, I sent him a letter of my degree. When I got into veterinary school, I sent him a copy of my acceptance letter. When I graduated from vet school, I sent him a copy of my degree. And I'm actually currently getting a master's right now. And when I graduate from that, I will send him a copy of my degree. So him and he always writes me a letter after I send him things like, hey, congratulations, things like that. But he had a pretty big, profound impact on me. So at the time, though, he drove me crazy. So. I really didn't say I would have a go-to place all the time. I really enjoyed getting on any of the horses and going riding around campus and out to the creek and things like that. So I didn't have one specific place that I would always kind of be at, but definitely horseback riding was always kind of nice to just get out to the Red Rocks. So I would have told myself to go there my first year, like my freshman year, and I would have pushed it more and not have kind of been like, oh, okay, I guess I won't do that. I wish I could have gone there for all 4 years. Visions